It seems the buildings were taking the brunt of the problems this morning, not the roads, as we've seen in this past month. They do say that this was going to be the last day. Some motorists might be breathing a sigh of relief at that.
Well, I think some motorists, a handful of motorists in the capital, will be breathing a sigh of relief. It hasn't sort of gained momentum around the rest of the United Kingdom. I think Just Stop Oil will look back at the 31 days of civil protest as an abject failure. They genuinely believe that they can change government policy, significant government policy. People are wising up to this. I can see them spraying orange paint onto bank doors and things like that. That's nothing. In 2001, nearly 100,000 people marched, Stop the War Coalition, to try and persuade Tony Blair from being a jackass and getting into bed metaphorically with George Bush. That turned out to be a disaster. So if nearly 100,000 people can't change government policy, I don't see what 150, 200 of these zealots can do. I really think that it's insignificant, it's inconsequential, and it's not going to do anything.
It's certainly got publicity, though, even if you don't agree with the way that they're doing these things. And perhaps some people are rethinking their approach to using oil and gas. But what happens now? I mean, presumably they move on to some other phase. What do you fear could happen next?
I'm not fearful of them, because their aim is to change government policy. The public, the proletariat, the working class men and women are starting to fight back. They're dragging these, well, I don't want to call them idiots. Their behaviour is idiotic. I hate what they do, but I don't hate them individually. I don't know them. But the public is starting to rip them off their superglued hands on the tarmac and drag them off the streets. And good for them. They're breaking the law. Civil disobedience, unfortunately, breeds civil disobedience. I have no sympathy for them whatsoever. Again, I need to take you back to their aim. Their aim is to change government policy. They're not going to do it. I don't know what they're going to do next. When I talk to other people in the motoring game, they're really sick and tired of this. They can blockade depots, fuel depots, and that has an effect, actually. That's a really interesting point. That does have an effect on the supply of fuel. So that's when it might bite a little harder for the average person on the street. But this is, I'm talking to you from Bristol. My business is in the Midlands, and I can tell you we are very well insulated from this idiotic behaviour.
However, I'm just looking at the latest suggestions from the RAC Fuel Watch about what's going to happen with fuel prices. And they're talking about perhaps diesel hitting £2 a litre before Christmas. The latest price that the RAC's identified at Cambridge, diesel at 197.9 pence a litre. I mean, perhaps that's the issue that really is going to stop people and make them think twice.
That's a very valid point. But I don't think we should forget about that jackass Putin and the effect that he's having on worldwide fuel prices, whether it's gas or whether it's diesel. It's a very interesting point. I'm in the car game, and the diesel market has gone a little bit flat. I've just driven down from the Midlands. I'm in Bristol. We're going to Cornwall. £2.09 a litre. I can see on the screen, I can see them being dragged off the streets. And I'm not advocating civil disobedience, but they can't expect anything else. The public have snapped. They've had enough of it, and they've seen what they can achieve by just removing them off the street. You're right about the diesel, though. If it goes over £2, then it's going to start hitting everyone, whether you're in London or outside of London.